How are we changed by loss? What is an acceptable amount of loss? What do we do with our experience of loss? These are questions Marcus Fischer has asked himself for years. In his music, Fischer regularly explores generation loss, the way that recorded sound gains character as it decays. He accomplishes this by recording sound upon sound using the same length of magnetic tape, foregrounding each subsequent layer while forcing the past to be overwritten, even erased. Because tape is a physical material, the degradation from repeatedly adding sound can be seen as well as heard. Things begin to distort and transform in subtle and not so subtle ways. Which is to say, it's a lot like life. Loss takes numerous forms, manifesting in varied ways. Loss is both intangible and felt. That is, loss is defined by an absence, yet it resonates in, even afflicts our bodies. Loss changes us, often irreparably. Moving from the sonic artifacts of loss into the physical, Fischer has explored ways to illustrate these ideas through objects, all without leaving sound behind. The exploration has led to engagements with unfamiliar materials and methods, melting and casting brass, letterpress printing on fabrics, and mapping data in spreadsheets to convert charts into graphic scores. The anchoring piece in What Was Lost and What Remains is a sound installation titled Mass that began as a way to grasp the ever-increasing multitudes of individuals killed or injured in mass shootings each year in the United States. In late 2021, Fischer began to think more concertedly about gun violence in his home country, specifically the reality of mass shootings here versus elsewhere in the world. Using information collected by the Gun Violence Archive, Fischer plotted the data points from the calendar year of 2022 onto charts. These charts, in turn, became graphic scores that provided a framework for the sound of mass, an arc of 12 speakers resting on 12 concrete cylinders. Each speaker vibrates an array of spent bullet casings with each movement of the composition matching the frequency and intensity of shootings that occurred in each corresponding month. This process is commonly referred to as sonification. Fischer's Mass is as much about the subject matter as it is about transforming cold, statistical data into something that the viewer feels in their body and also hears with their ears.
November 2022.
I feel like we think about sound in such a one-dimensional way, but really, it's such a four-dimensional image. We're hearing echoes of sound all the time, which are little snapshots of life that are delayed by milliseconds or seconds, depending on the environment that you're in. This is a work that's about generation loss and thinking about dealing with loss as a form of grief or as a result of what we pass down or through repetition. I started with a tuning fork, which I cast in brass and made a copy of a copy of a copy, following it down through 27 generations of copies. I would polish each one before making the next copy, so some of the flaws would become more evident through the act of polishing, like the pitting and defects that were brought to the surface. I think that I process the intangible by making objects that are tangible. I melted down a couple 100 pounds of spent bullet casings and poured them over the heads of nails. It's an incomplete map of mass shootings in the year 2023, representing only about a third of the number of shootings that year.
What Was Lost and What Remains is a collection of work addressing themes of loss, generational trauma, and gun violence in America. It also serves as a container to make space for certain things, issues, experiences, feelings, histories that often aren't easy to talk about.